And welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat. Thanks a lot for joining us. And we're very, very fortunate now to be joined by one of the best, if not the best, collegiate soccer coaches in the country, Coach Todd Yeagley from the Indiana Hoosiers. Coach, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
You guys have had a pretty good year so far. 8-0 in conference, number 2, probably number 1 in the RPI maybe, but that's barely above average for this program.
Yeah, no, it's been, I look at the seniors group, and obviously we're really excited they're able to get the trophy in Columbus. We've been really close the last few years, really close, and this team is on a 36-game unbeaten streak in the Big Ten, which is really a special mark. And so I always say leaving your mark on this program, and I think this group is showing that they can, and they want more. So, having this championship this year, I think was important for them to leave with something, because, again, we've been so close, but now it's the postseason Big Ten that they have the eyes set on, and then obviously from there it's NCAA.
And Indiana's impact on soccer is felt far beyond just the college world. It's part of your father's legacy. He had 7 national titles, and I think he won
6. Yeah,
6. And
yeah.
you've won. You've been a part of 3. I know you've won a couple as well. It's now part of your legacy. It's got to be special to be a part of something that's that big.
Yeah, we don't. I think because you're in it, you don't think about it as much until you talk about it or you read it, and people talk about it. You then kind of take a step back and go, "This is pretty cool." You're part of something that's going on that's unique, and not many, father-son combinations have you seen at the same school that have had some success. And certainly my dad has had the ultimate success. He's the all-time winningest coach. The championships, the winning percentage is going to be tough to ever match, quite honestly. And so to be able to, be a part of this and continue on and be, as we kind of say, the caretakers, the staff right now, it means a lot. But yet we're just so focused on the next game, next practice. You don't have really a lot of time to think about it.
And you talk about the father-son combinations. You see that a lot in basketball, and usually it's very difficult for the son to follow a famous father, but not just to follow, to maintain that. You've done exactly that and continues today. It's almost amazing that you haven't missed a beat.
Well, he's put some special numbers together, and when I came back, I made it pretty clear in my own head that I can't even ever think about trying to match or define the success of our program based on what he did. For me and the rest of the group and for the program, it's about the standard. And if we can be championship quality every year and play with the pride in the class this program has been so accustomed to having, then that's ultimately what I have to focus on, the process. And that keeps me really grounded every day, because I can't think about, trying to obtain what he attained. It's all about doing the small things really well, recruiting great people, and having our fans really excited about watching this team, and one they can look at and say that represents Indiana, the values of Indiana, the university, the athletic department, and this team's been able to do that. And hopefully some championships come along with that. But that's really what I focus on.
Well, 2017 was a great year for Indiana men's soccer. Like I said, a Big Ten runner-up, Big Ten tournament runner-up, NCAA runner-up. But there's a common theme there that where you're going. Such a great year, so close to greatness, and to just miss it. And then this year I look at this team, and they've turned it up a notch. I see a hunger. I see it it's a tick more going in there.
Yeah, that's how close it was. We say, like, we try to compare teams, and that team was, we're talking moments and minutes away from no argument being the best team that ever played here. If you could put those 3 together, and we're talking small minutes and moments, and yet they didn't walk away with anything. But I feel, and I talked to my father about it, he said it after the game, that was maybe one of the best teams ever to represent our program. And that's something later down the life that you realize and you take a little bit more pride in. I think when you're in it as a coach and a player, you want to be able to take something away from it and be able to say that's our stake in the ground. So this year, that's a big part. And what's great is that they were able to use the first trophy opportunity to say so in the moment, because every Big Ten game intermittently with non-conference is so important to get those 3 points, and that's what they were able to do. And to be 8-0 and to have won the conference with a game in hand says a lot about this team, because we were, all eyes were on us, and the pressure was there. I mean, an undefeated regular season up until that last game. A lot of teams had a hard act to follow, and they've been able to do it really well this year. And it's again, a team that's really fun to coach, and I think for our fans, a really fun team to watch.
And you mentioned the 8-0, and that's one of the things I was going to ask about. It's a first in the conference. Now, it puts you up there with the 75-76 basketball team in Indiana that went undefeated in the conference, only ones to do it. That's got to be an amazing thing to accomplish. Yeah,
we took a step back. I told the team, I said, again, we're so in the moment about the next thing, but I did say, you guys have left your mark already. And I know that's not going to take any hunger away from the team. I said, what you did is pretty special. It's the first 8-0 team since the new alignment of the 9 teams for us on the men's soccer side. And it's hard to do. It is really hard. And they know that. Here's a team that, went undefeated last year in the conference with those 3 ties. And then the year before, undefeated, but with 5 ties. Those little margins, now they're finding a way to get a result. And not fortunate. I mean, games that were kind of on the front foot, just got to get over the hump with one extra play. But all along, obviously, a lot of shutouts, and our defending is obviously what keeps us in every game. So I did take a step back with the group and say what you did is pretty special. That was a real short moment, and it was all right. Let's get back to practice and the next game.
Well, you talk about basically getting back to work. You guys play a brutal schedule. You're always at or near the top of the RPI. Last time I saw, you're number 1 this year. But you're number 2. You go through. You handle it as well. It's a brutal schedule, but you have managed it and you've gotten through it. That's got to bring a lot of resolve, and it's a philosophy that you've built. But it certainly seems to be working for you.
We do. It's the philosophy is go out and challenge yourself in non-conference games. Play different types of teams so that you are prepared. And if you win those games and win enough of them, you're going to be in really good shape to make the NCAA tournament, and that's a new season. But the confidence that your group has, knowing that we've already gone and played a really good Wake Forest team, who I wouldn't be surprised would be in a college cup, played them at their place and played really well. First game of the year. Those types of games, just like UNC to the next game that weekend, that will prepare you for any tough opponent. I mean, there's no one that's out there that is better than what we've seen. They might be close or similar or equal, but no one's better. So that's great confidence for your group that we go now into postseason going, okay, we've seen what the best looks like. We just have to make sure we perform well. And a bit of the wake up was the Kentucky game. We had a little bit of an off day, and a lot of that was poor preparation on my part. But we had a B day, C day, and we got punished. And that was, kind of that wake up of we, again, can't show up and expect it to be handed to us. And that was maybe the best thing that happened to us that stage of the year.
You've built this team, and it's one of the things that amazes me, with the core of kids from Indiana, the Midwest. When you think of soccer, you don't think of the Midwest as producing those great talents, but you're doing it, and you add some other things in, but the core seems to be from right here at home.
Yeah, the core. I mean, we had a pretty unique situation in 12 with a huge Indiana group. This particular team does resemble IU quite a bit with our traditional teams, is that it's a very strong Midwest flavor. The Chicagos, into Ohio, down into Kentucky, and that 4 hour in St. Louis has been very kind to us, bringing some great talent. And then you splash in, in this case, a Denver, a Jersey. You go down to Florida with Sean. I mean, you throw in some of the players from out of the region, Minnesota, and boom, there you have, the makeup of your team. And there's we go inside out. I mean, it's intentional in our recruiting, but we don't get stubborn in it, and we go find what we need whether that's heavier in the Midwest or a little bit heavier out of region. But we definitely want to keep the best players in the region, and we've been fortunate enough to do that.
And if we look at the Big Ten Players of the Week awards, you had 3 of the first 5, 4 of the last 6. Great start, and you're on it at the end. But you guys you can tell that you're controlling the league and doing what you need to do. But that takes a lot of special talent and players to do that, and you certainly have those. And let's start in goal with Trey Muse. He's only a sophomore from Louisville, but he's like the wall of China. He should be Trey Ming, should be his name. He's got a 90% stop rate. It's crazy.
Yeah, Trey's he's a great talent. He's mature beyond his years. He makes the plays when we need them. You know, we don't ask our goalie to do a lot besides organizing and making sure we're prepared for, transition and counter moments. But this year, I think even more so than his freshman year, he hasn't, I'd say when you don't have to do much, you can try to make plays that you don't need to make. And this year, I thought he's been really spot on with not trying to make plays, not exiting when he shouldn't, to kind of find his way into the game. A board keeper is a good keeper, and we want to keep him not busy. And his mental approach has been great. He's pushed by a really good goalkeeping core, and we say that is the key to our entire team, is the depth and the push every day. He's got it with our goalkeeping core, just as some of our field players, and he's got great maturity. So, yeah, when you look at the back of your team and go, that's what you have ultimately to make a play, gives confidence to the whole group.
And while Trey is only a sophomore, you've got a great mix of older guys on this team. Andrew Gutman and Trevor Schwartz and Corey Thomas, those guys that are senior leaders, but not just senior leaders, they're performers, big-time performers, all of them. Let's talk about Andrew Gutman first. What a phenomenal season he's had. Yeah,
it'd be hard to duplicate. To have your left back as your leading goal scorer, you just don't script it. And let's not forget how good he is defensively. When you go against some of the likes that we had this year with wide players, where do you go? You got Gutman and you got Buckmaster. Neither one of them you don't want to go against. He's a phenomenal athlete. He's a competitor. He's got great balance, and he makes plays. That's just the best way. He's the bigger the game for Andrew, the bigger he'll show up more often through his career. And this year is no different. He's been there to make big plays for us on both sides, and I continue to see that moving forward. And his leadership has really improved over the time, and he's deserved everything he's got. That kid has worked really hard on his own in the summers and getting better every year. This is relatively not a heavily recruited player out of Chicago that right now I think has a stake in the ground for Player of the Year in the country. It's a pretty cool thing.
Absolutely. Trevor Schwartz, another. You've got a roster full of great players, but Trevor Schwartz is another one that's been so instrumental in the success this year of this squad.
Yeah, Trevor had a really good year last year. This year, obviously, with our ability to create restarts, he's given us some fantastic serves to help get some big goals off restarts, which we've been really strong. And then from the run of play, that's the luxury of this group, is that we have a bunch of seniors, 8 of them, that we can move into 4 roles in one game, and they know every one of the roles that needs to get done, and they can adapt. So we have a move really for every type of situation we have. And so whether I start Trevor wide, or I move him to the 10, or I drop him back into the holding midfielder, he knows the role and he can execute. And that goes for this entire group of seniors. They've seen everything. I've had them in different roles. It's the most versatile group I've ever coached. I could put Poncho anywhere on the field outside of center back, and the kid knows what to do. We had him at right back in one of the biggest games of the year last year, and never had him there before, but he knows the role because he's seen and been around this team enough. So pretty nice thing from a coaching and team standpoint to have that.
And something I just thought of, you guys are doing all this without the leading scorer on this team last year, who's not even here.
Yeah, that was a question mark. What do we do without Mason Toy, freshman that led the team? And we said it before the year started, it's going to be committee. It has to be because we have enough players that can produce. And it is. I think we had 15 players in our team that have helped give us a point, goal or assist. That's unbelievable. And that's what you want as a program. You want to have balance, that no matter who the opponent is, no matter what. If you have an injury or now we have a national team call up, it's the next guy up. You know, we have so much in this team that can produce on a day, and it's not everyone's day every game. We know that, but we have someone that can be able to step up and give us the key moments. So pretty fortunate.
Last year I called Corey Thomas a blue-collar worker, and you agreed and said that's exactly who he is and what he does and what he brings to this team.
Corey, I mean, he's become a blue-collar. The crazy part is that Corey initially when he came here was a bit of a one-way player, but I'd say of any of our seniors that has adapted and become the most complete from where he came in, Corey would be in that conversation. He is a really special talent. And again, Corey, I can put anywhere in the field. And as a freshman, you know, we couldn't have said that. One, his skill sets weren't developed enough, and two, he didn't have that mentality that he's developed. We play him wide, we play him up top, we play him as the 8. I mean, wherever we need a Corey ability, we can move him and he can give it to us. Really fortunate to have Corey Thomas. He's had a great 2 years in particular.
We talked about earlier last year how close to greatness, how painstakingly close to greatness, but they didn't even win so much as a watch.
Right.
Anything about last season? Has it altered preparation, thought, going into game planning, anything for this season?
No, I mean, I think we just reflect on what we did well with last year, and that's they were really competitive. They were present. They worked their tails off. They continue to understand that the team is the star, and that never is lost, even though we have some absolute stars in this group that you would consider when it comes to, you know, awards and some recognition. But they never lose sight. The group humbles themselves quickly. They compete every day, and they stay really present. It's not about the start of the year was not about how do we get into the championship game to redeem ourselves. That we haven't even talked about much that game or getting to Santa Barbara. They know where it is. There's been references, but again, I think because last year we weren't able to walk away with something as good as that team was, as special as they'll go down, that just winning this first of the 3 available was a really big moment. And I almost feel like it's even loosened them up a little bit more. Like, okay, we got one. Now let's go and keep going, which is exciting.
Everywhere you go, you have a target on your back. Doesn't matter who you're playing, where you're playing. Indiana is in town, or we're at Indiana. There's a target on your back. Do you use that as a badge of courage, and do you all use it to your advantage?
We do. I mean, it's you sometimes you feel like when you have that B or C day, and you look back and you're like, God, I know that team didn't play that well 2 games ago when we scouted them, but yeah, they played really darn well against us. It's the same story. I'd say most teams' best games are against us. And the crowds that we go, we've set marks. A couple places that we went this year are now their attendance marks, which is great. We just say you've got to be able to bring it all the time. And that helps push the narrative in the training. Every day we've got to compete and find a way to get a little bit better individually and collectively, because everyone else is going to get their A game against us, and we got to be prepared for that. So to me, it's a great motivational tool for our team, and it just continues to tell the group you've got to perform every day.
Coach, I can't thank you enough. I wish you the best of luck in the tournament this year. Bringing a lot more hardware home this time, and we will be supporting you and looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks to Coach Yeagley. The Hoosiers on tap this Sunday up at Jerry Yeagley Field as they start Big Ten play for the tournament, and we'll follow them there. We'll be back with more here on Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle right back right after this.
Thanks, Jim. Appreciate it.